Woodfield is situated in the heart of West Cork, 4 miles west of Clonakilty. The property of Woodfield was occupied by the Collins family for 8 generations until 1920, when it was sold by Johnny Collins, brother of Michael Collins. The property was turned into the Michael Collins Memorial Centre by Liam Collins, nephew of Michael Collins, and was officially opened in October 1990. Michael Collins was born on this property on the 18th of October 1890. He was the third and youngest son of 8 children to be born into the Collins family. The farm consisted of 90 acres, which was farmed by Michael John Collins, father of Michael. So here we are at the site at Woodfield, Clonakilty, where Michael Collins was born. Behind me is the original site that Michael Collins was born in. If you look further into the site here, you can see the foundation of a newer dwelling which was built by the Collins family. However, this was burnt down by the Essex Regiment. I met with local man Timothy Crowley to research the early life of Michael Collins and the history of Woodfield. So I'm here in the Michael Collins Centre with Timothy Crowley. Timothy and his family stuck the Michael Collins Centre here in 2000, and the centre here has been constantly evolving, so they're adding bits on here and there whenever they have time. And they do tours in the summer, visits, just to kind of recreate the scenes of the time of Michael Collins. They also recreated a full-scale model of the armoured car and the ambush at Bellabla. So Timothy, just on Michael Collins growing up in Woodfield, going to school, and his younger boyhood days.
Michael Collins was born in October 1890, as you said, at Woodfield, just outside of Clonakilty. His family arrangement was a bit unusual, or the family set up, because when he was born, his father was 75, which was quite unusual, I suppose, even back then. And his father and mother got married, and on their wedding day, the father was 60 and his mother was 23. So and then, of course, Michael being the last, and the father was 75. But Michael would say later in life that he could never remember his father's face, but he could remember all the history and the stories that his father passed on to him, because his father died when Michael was 6 and a half. And of course, when Michael's father died, outside in the old house of Woodfield, he seemingly said to all the people around his deathbed to look after young Michael, because he's going to do great things for them yet. But that's another story, because Michael's father was the seventh son and all of that. But now Michael Collins went to school then in the local village in Lissabard when he was about 4 or 5, and he would continue going to school there. And of course, a lot of people are interested to know, what were his influences growing up, what made him the man he became. And certainly going to school in Lissabard, one of the teachers there was a man called James Lyons, he'd been an old senior, and he sort of taught Michael Collins about pride in being Irish, and maybe a bit of Irish language and all that. And then, of course, in the evenings, and then at lunchtime, Michael Collins would go across the road from the school at Lissabard, and at the side of where the Pike Bar is now, there was a blacksmith's forge, and there was a blacksmith there called James Santry, and he used to be telling all the school boys and girls how his grandfather made coffee pipes in 1798. So he was another big influence for Michael Collins growing up. And there's a lot of big connection between the 1798 period and the Collins story, because Michael Collins' father actually was taught in a hedge school by a man who knew Theobald Wolfe Tone, 1798 leader. So all these kind of unusual connections there.
So in terms of the farm and the site of Woodfield, what can you tell me about the original house that Michael Collins was born in?
Well, I suppose it's really hard to know what the design of the original house was. We know the design of the house was burned, because there was still, when that was, the site was cleaned up for Woodfield in 1990, and there was still a couple of Johnny Collins' children still alive, maybe Michael's nephews and nieces, and they could, some of them were born in that house, so they could live there until they were 10, and they could point out where the kitchen was and the bedrooms and all that. Now, I knew some of them when we started off 20 years ago on tours and so on, and I asked them, could they tell me what was the original design of the old house inside, and they couldn't tell me. I mean, if you walk into that house, you can see, first of all, there's a blocked up doorway going from one section to the other, which would indicate it was a dwelling house at one time. And then if you look up at the height of the roof, you can see old mortar, and then a newer mortar that was used, time replacement, was restored in 1990s. But looking at the height of the wall with the old mortar, it indicated that it was possibly a two-story house, and that is mentioned in some of the information boards out there as well. But as to where it be the bedrooms or the kitchen or whatever, some of that building may well have been removed and destroyed. You know, when the new house was built, my family was 10 around 1900. That old dwelling house was turned into a farm building, so it was completely gutted.
Now we're just going to go into the site and have a natural look around at other restoration work that has taken place over the last number of years.
At the Memorial Centre in Woodfield, there are information boards present which identify how the house at the front of the site was constructed and the details of the room layout. Unfortunately, however, similar information isn't available for the original farmhouse which is located at the back of the property. There is evidence present which suggests that the house was a two-storey dwelling.
In terms of the construction of the new dwelling house next to the road here at Woodfield, what remains today is just the foundation stones and the chimney capping here on my right hand side. Also is visible is the hearth of the fireplace, as well as the bricks along the front of the fireplace. The stones were removed years after the house was burnt down to build the local farmer's mill. Behind me is a section of the roof here at Woodfield. As you can see, it is a natural slate roof. There's a distinct feature here behind me as well, which is the concrete barge. What this consists of is bringing the stonework up above the level of the roof, then it is capped with natural slate. Originally, this concrete barge was used to hold down the thatch roof. This then evolved and held down the corrugated iron and is presently holding down the natural slate. As you can see behind me here at the front of the building, the concrete barge runs up along the gable, across the ridge and down the other gable. This is for protection against the elements.
The roof structure consists of a traditional cut roof. From the interior of the building, the rafters, purlin, wall plate, battens and natural slate are all visible. It is important to note that the breather membrane isn't present. Prior to the restoration, the original rafters and wall plate would have been bedded into the wall with mortar. This was a major problem in relation to decay of the timber.
There's a distinct feature over the doorway here. It's a flagstone. A flagstone is used as a lintel to support the weight of the stones and the roof above the doorway. There have been a number of steps taken to conserve and restore this site to its original state. Just the entrance of the site is one example. The blockwork here has been repointed. There is a replica gate of the original gate that hung here. This was presented to Liam Collins, nephew of Michael Collins, by the volunteers who worked on this site.
The stonework of the house was conserved and repointed in 1990 when the site was restored by Liam Collins and volunteers.
The stonework here in the house underwent some conservation work. As you can see, it was repointed with fresh mortar. Here I am in the interior of the building just examining the roof. So there are rafters which are supported by collars running across. As you can see, there are natural slate which are exposed, as there is no breather membrane used in restoration.
For the restoration of this particular roof, all the rafters had to be replaced due to the profound amount of damage and decay. The rafters and purlin were treated accordingly with preservative to prevent future decay. The natural state for the conservation of this roof were sourced from Ballinspittle Church, as the slates are of a similar vintage to the original building. The concrete barge which protects the roof of the house also needed some attention. New lead was put into place to prevent moisture penetrating into the structure. Afterwards, the stonework needed to be pointed and some stones need to be replaced. The capping of the barge is completed by placing natural slates into a bed of mortar. The information boards around the site inform us of how the building adapted over time. When the new house was built, the old house was converted into an agricultural building. In order to facilitate pigs and other livestock, certain changes were implemented in and around 1900. Some of the work that took place includes the installation of concrete water troughs, closure of internal doorways, and the installation of a new floor to facilitate animal waste.
Behind me here is the house that Michael Collins was born in the 16th of October 1890. Michael and his family lived here up until 1900, until they moved into the new dwelling house at the front of the site here. This building was then converted for agricultural use, so it was used as a pigsty and for storage of agricultural products. As time went on, the building adapted to suit its functions. So at the front of the building there was a concrete trough added for animals. In this particular part of the building there was stone cobbles added to the floor. This is to facilitate the ease of removal of animal manure. This concludes our visit to Woodfield, Clonakilty, the birthplace of Michael Collins.